Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I'm joined by Jackson Tennant, sports beat writer for the University Daily Kansan, and Joey Segura, KC Comets intern.
Thank you for the intro.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and the boys are going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl today because we're, 2 days away from the big game?
Yep, 2.
That's wild. So, you guys have heard me talk all week about it. I want to get Jackson's perspective first about this game. You're not a Chiefs fan, so you're going to inject a new viewpoint.
A little more objectivity, maybe. Not to say that y'all's is wrong. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think this is the right matchup. I feel like if the Super Bowl is supposed to be with two of the top teams in the NFL, this feels like the matchup that we should get. With that said, who I think is going to win, I've been kind of going back and forth. I think the Eagles may have the more complete roster, but I do think the Chiefs are going to pull it out and win just because I think Mahomes is going to pull some out of his butt that nobody will see coming. Andy Reid will scheme something up, and I just think by the end of it, we're going to see KC run away with it.
That's fair. What do you think?
So, when you look at the last Super Bowl we played in, we got our ass kicked because the O-line was completely hurt. We had who at left tackle? Wiley?
No, it was Mike Remmers, baby.
Right,
Mike Remmers.
Remmers.
Overall number 69 in Madden. No disrespect, just pointing it out.
Putting the stats out. But the O-line was non-existent. Mahomes' injury then was worse than this one is now. And we got our ass kicked.
Yep.
But I think that is going to give them a unique experience because it's not a similar thing because the O-line this year has been very good. So
Third best in the league.
Yeah, so it's been great. Now, granted, obviously Philadelphia's pass rush is elite, but I think the experience from the past Super Bowl is going to give them a little bit more of a complete game plan, I guess, because they have some insight on what mistakes they made last time and how they can correct those. So,
I pointed it out, I think, last night. In that last Super Bowl, 2 days before, Andy Reid's son, basically almost killed a girl in a car crash. So I don't think that he was fully present in that game.
Oh, I forgot that was in that time. Yeah.
It was literally 2 days before the game. So
Wow.
I'm sure that he wasn't in the right mental space to be calling plays in that game. And just because there was times in that Super Bowl where they just didn't chip with anybody and Mahomes was getting blown up. So I don't think we're going to have that absent-minded Andy Reid in this game. I mean, the Eagles kind of disrespected him when they parted ways.
That's true.
Philly fans still hate that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And what did he do for them? NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game, and he took them to a Super Bowl. So I think Andy Reid's coaching ability, I like it a lot more than Nick Sirianni. I don't dislike Nick Sirianni. I just don't think that he's that great.
Yeah, and I think we've also, we've seen Andy Reid prove himself in these big games over and over again. Nick Sirianni has had a great run so far. He deserves a lot of credit for the season that he's had, but you can't really gauge him yet just because he hasn't been on a stage like this. It's kind of like Kyle Shanahan a couple years ago. Kyle Shanahan's a wizard, but we hadn't seen him in a Super Bowl, and then we did. And we saw what happened. So I'm not saying that, I like Nick Sirianni a lot, but yeah, I think Andy Reid, especially having something to prove, got that little chip on his shoulder, playing his old team. I think that's just going to be that's what's going to make or break the Super Bowl, I think, is Andy Reid's play calling.
I mean, in the experience kind of going off that, the Eagles, great football team. Like you said, I do think they're more complete than the Chiefs are, but they don't have the experience that the Chiefs do. The Chiefs have been to 2 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes just won his second MVP. This stage is not too bright for them. And I'm not saying it's going to be too bright for Jalen Hurts either. He's legit. But I could totally see, I just don't know how. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I don't know how in a high-scoring game you could take Jalen Hurts necessarily over Patrick Mahomes, who's been there, done that, and has proven he can just throw the points on the board when he has to.
Yeah. It's funny because Jalen Hurts is coming off of that shoulder injury, and before he got hurt, he was a legitimate MVP candidate. I didn't think he was going to get it, but there was a legitimate argument to be made that he was
definitely in the running for sure.
He was the best player in football. But since he's coming back from that shoulder injury, he's averaging 6 yards per attempt and 2.96 yards per carry. So I don't think we're going to see the best version of Jalen Hurts.
I don't think so either.
And I think that could be costly in this game.
I agree, and I think Jalen's health is something I don't believe has been talked about quite as much as it should be. Mm-hmm. He's banged up too.
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes is banged up. Don't get me wrong, but Jalen Hurts, like if you saw him in that NFC Championship game, it was the perfect game for him because he is kind of dwindling with these injuries, and he didn't have to do too much. No. He just had to manage the game because the Eagles just put on a master performance on both sides of the floor. So, again, I think I completely agree with you. I don't think we're going to get the best of Jalen Hurts in this game. And I don't know if I trust him as in these big moments as much as other people do. Again, Jalen, great player. He has made some clutch plays before. But we saw in that college football championship game against, well, it was Georgia, right? Yeah, when he got benched and Tua came in. You see plays like that and, the game against, now granted, LSU is like the best collegiate team of all time. But
best one ever.
Blew Oklahoma off the field. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I think Mahomes, again, I think Mahomes just outclasses Hurts in this one.
And to me, it's similar in some ways to the AFC Championship that we just played in because they said the same kind of stuff about us then. It was, Joe Burrow's been in these moments.
I'd argue he's better than Jalen Hurts, too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think there's a debate there. Jalen's a great quarterback, but Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But they said the same thing about Kansas City. And the same things that they're saying about us, again, that they did with the Bengals, is basically the same stuff they're saying now against the Eagles.
Yep.
Which is... it's stupid to me because why would you bet against Patrick Mahomes in this situation? The Eagles haven't played a quarterback like him.
Exactly.
I mean, not to knock the defense. That defense is legit. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Anybody they'll play, they'll be great.
Yeah.
But the best quarterback they played was Dak Prescott. And
dropped 40 on their head.
40. Yep.
So they haven't played anybody close to Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce with the play calling that Andy Reid's going to have.
That's a great point.
Yeah, like they haven't played anybody. And I hate to be that guy because they got to this point, but in the playoffs, no shade, but they played Danny Dimes and they beat the doors off of him. And then they played, what was it, Brock Purdy and then Josh Johnson.
I'd never heard of him.
Then Josh Johnson got hurt and they had to put Brock Purdy back in. He couldn't throw the ball.
Torn something.
They were going to throw Christian McCaffrey at quarterback because they really had nobody else.
So, listen, they made this game. Congrats to them.
Yep.
They're not going to know what hits them because Patrick Mahomes, unless he gets hurt, God forbid, knock on wood, but if he's on the football field, what he's able to do, you can't simulate that in practice. No. You can't be like, okay, we're gonna have somebody. I remember a couple years ago, we had like Jordan Teamu run as Lamar Jackson to kind of try to simulate him. There's nothing you could possibly do to try to mirror what Mahomes does.
No,
nothing.
100%. And I think also it's like, and the level of competition whenever you play in the NFL obviously is elite in all conferences and all teams. But yeah, I mean the Chiefs. I mean they just got done beating Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon and that whole Bengals offense and that ferocious defense as well. So, and again, it's not about. It's more about where you go than how you get there. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs have to go through so many teams to get to their point just because the AFC is just loaded right now.
Yeah, it's stacked.
And so, I think the Eagles had, at least a bottom third schedule in terms of like easiness.
Sure. It was literally three.
I was about to say, it had to have been around there. So that matters because you haven't game plan. Nick Sirianni has not had a game plan much for a top 5 team, for a top 1 team. Mm-hmm. So, again, I think we're going to see the Eagles struggle just because of that fact, for sure.
And the defense, I've been a defender of the Chiefs defense all season. You've known this. I have said...
He's full of shit.
No, I'm not. Did I say they struggled? Yes. But my whole argument was when the offense was giving up turnovers left and right, it's hard to go out there and ask 6-7 rookies to, you just got off the field, 2 seconds later, get back out there, Jalen Watt. Like, it's tough to ask them to do that. And they've stepped up. Like you just said, with the weapons Cincinnati has, they, for the most part, shut them down.
Yeah,
like the fact that you only let them drop 20, right? That's what Cincinnati had.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if that's the case and you were able to slow down Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Kyle Boyd, why could you not slow down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? Not disrespecting them. They're elite talents, both 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah.
But we've done this.
Exactly.
And the confidence is just growing. Like, you can see the rookies just... Karlaftis had, I think, 5.5 sacks over the last 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jalen Watson is 2 postseason picks.
Mm-hmm.
That the rookies are what's going to make and break this game, and it's exactly the same thing it was for the AFC title game. That's what it's going to come down to me for this.
I think the Bengals are a better team, and also when we were going into that game, I was terrified of the Bengals. They were the team that I didn't think we could beat.
Yeah.
I just had that weird feeling that they just always beat us, and I was not confident going into that game. I thought they could win, but I wasn't like, yeah, Chiefs are going to win this game.
Right.
And after you were able to pull off that victory, winning the game with like 3 seconds left, it just feels like the Eagles aren't going to stop the Chiefs.
No.
They can't be the team that ends this magical run.
Yeah.
Like, the Eagles compared to the Bengals, I know the record might not show, but I think the Bengals are a better football team.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And you know, we talk about like that game in general and coming down to the last 3 seconds. To me, whenever Patrick Mahomes gets the ball and they need to score, the game's over.
Yeah.
Because he's the best quarterback that I've ever seen. So when he has the ball, and that's the thing too, that the Eagles just don't have that. They're one player in the game that I would bet all of my money on that if they need to score, will get the job done, is a Chiefs player. And that counts for a lot, especially if you look at the past Super Bowls, like who would you rather have in these big game situations? Usually the player that you pick is on the winning team.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason why they're going to win.
I know that CBS charts like the Chiefs have like 3 players in the top 10 or something ridiculous like that. But the 3 players are Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, and Travis Kelce.
Exactly.
3 of the best players at their position in football.
Exactly.
The best quarterback,
Exactly.
the best D tackle, and the best tight end. 3
Yep.
Hall of Famers. Like, oh, okay.
Yep.
So at the end, like, yeah, the Eagles might have more depth from top to bottom, but I'll tell you what, Chris Jones has 2.5 sacks and is getting 10 pressures a game. They're not winning.
Right.
Like, no chance.
Right.
Because the Eagles pass rush, I looked at the stats. They had 70 sacks, and they led the league.
Terrifying.
That is insane.
We were second in the league with sacks with 55.
Yeah.
So we don't have a bad pass rush, but that Eagles pass rush is just different.
Yeah, that's more than 4 sacks a game. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I think our offensive line can rise to the challenge and kind of stop it a little bit, but it's going to be tough. It's the toughest challenge they're going to face all year.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily.
It for sure is, but I like the Chiefs. The stat I've been looking at is our O-line led the league in pass block win rate. They won it 76% of the time. So not that they're going to get to Mahomes. Like, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
They're going to have pressure. I don't think it's going to be this slaughter fest everybody is expecting, because I keep hearing people comparing it to the Super Bowl that we lost. No, it's not. We didn't have the interior O-line that we have now that I would argue is the best in football with Creed, Tooney, and Trey Smith.
Yeah.
Now, the tackles are a question mark. Like, I think Orlando
Here's the
might
thing,
get
though. When
killed
you
a little
get
bit.
in that situation, Orlando Brown is not going to be going 1v1 versus Hassan Reddick.
No.
Because they're going to try to chip Joe Tooney
Exactly.
in and double team him a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you have to. Hassan Reddick, I mean, we saw in the 49ers game, too. That dude was just killing everybody. Sucks as a Panthers fan, we could have kept him, but that's a different story. But yeah, no, I think the Chiefs' protection obviously much more advanced than what they were looking at, going into the 2021 Super Bowl against the Bucs. And I think we're going to see a little Mahomes be more willing to escape the pocket a little bit. I think these last 2 weeks have been good to him to heal, which is huge. And we saw even in Cincy, he had some trouble sometimes when he had to go out of the pocket. He's still doing damage no matter what. But if the Eagles decide to rush 7, I think he'll be able to make some plays down the field.
One thing that I didn't really think about, but somebody brought it up, that the Chiefs in that Bengals game didn't get to really do what they wanted to do on offense because everyone got hurt. The Chiefs had 3 receivers down.
Yeah.
So they might actually have those guys back for this game, and so they could actually try an offensive game plan that's not vanilla.
Right.
I mean, you had a special teams guy and Kemp
Marcus
out
Kemp,
there
baby.
starting at receiver for half the game.
Crazy.
I remember looking up at the game, I was like, is that Marcus Kemp? And then he caught a pass. I have no clue.
Yeah, it's like when, New England back in the day when either Gronk would go out or Aaron Hernandez would go out, and then there would be like a 4th string tight end that would play long snapper, and then you see him catch a touchdown. That's the thing about the Chiefs; they can just plug in guys in that system because the system is undefeated.
Because the system has Patrick Mahomes, and no other system has that.
That's true, and combine that with Andy Reid's wizardry, that dude, it's an unfair situation.
So I want to gauge your thoughts on this. Everyone's for the most part, picking the Eagles to win this game. They're 1.5-point favorites. I think the ESPN numbers are like 13-11, including a couple Chiefs beat reporters picking the Eagles to win, I might add.
Yeah.
What do you think the chances are that the Chiefs handle the Eagles fairly easily? I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means, but I think if there's going to be a blowout, the Chiefs are going to be the ones to blow them out.
Yeah, I think I could see that as well. I just have a hard time. Obviously, we saw, the Bucs decisively beat the Chiefs, but there were so many circumstances that were leading into that were beyond even Mahomes' control. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think if it were, I don't even want to answer the question because I truly do not think it's going to be a blowout. Now, it could get to the point where the Chiefs kind of run away with it in the last 5 or so minutes. Mahomes makes an 80-yard, touchdown throw. It's 35-21 or whatever. I'm just throwing out a score. I think that is a more of a probability. But I understand why the Eagles are favored, I guess, because, again, they do probably have the more complete team. They're coming off of a fantastic regular season. But, no, to answer your question, I think if there is going to be a clear-cut, decisive win, it's going to be in the Chiefs' favor.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there's no real chance for a blowout. The closest kind of what you said.
Yeah.
I would compare it to, and I'm comparing a lot of old games, but I'm going to compare it to the 2019 AFC title game. Where, granted, the Chiefs looked like they were going to beat the Titans for most of the second half, but Mahomes threw that touchdown to Sammy Watkins with a couple minutes to go. Where that might be the scenario. Yeah, where it's going to be close for 3.5 quarters, and maybe, like you said, last couple minutes, Kansas City breaks away, but the Eagles are too complete of a roster unless some absurd injury happens, like Hurts goes down or a couple of the D-line goes down. I can't see a world where it's not a close game.
I agree.
Well, the reason that I posed the question of, could it be a blowout is because the Eagles haven't really faced any adversity.
Yeah.
And they have no idea what's coming. And kind of comparing back to 2020, the Chiefs went into that game. They waxed the Buffalo Bills in that AFC Championship game. They ran through the playoffs. They ran through the regular season. And when they got to that Super Bowl, they were projected to win, even though the offensive line issues. And then the Bucs hit them in the mouth, and it was kind of like, oh, shit.
They had no counterpunch.
And then they absolutely laid down and died. So I'm just saying that maybe if the Chiefs hit them really quickly, it's kind of like, oh, no, what's going on? Yep. And we don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to panic in this situation. Because even in Mahomes' first Super Bowl, first 3 quarters were kind of rough.
They were.
He's played bad in the Super Bowl. You can look at the stats. The Super Bowls, I think, been, aside from the second half of the Cincy game last year, have been the 2 worst games that he's played in the postseason.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's not, to me, I'm not trying to say in any way is he a choker or anything because he won one. But, he has not played his best games in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially that Super Bowl against the Niners, too. That first half was rough. 2 interceptions, and then he couldn't really get it going in the third, and then he, made all those big plays. That throw to Tyreek Hill showed why he is who he is. I think we're going to see the best game of his Super Bowl resume. I think that's a fairly, safe, in my mind, prediction. I just think he's going to come in and just do what he does. I think we're going to see AFC Championship level Mahomes here. I really do.
Man on a mission.
I think so too. Yeah. Yep. And if he gets this one, look, dude, you got 2 rings, you got 2 MVPs, and you haven't turned 30.
That's what I was about to kind of say. It's everything's thrown out the window.
Exactly.
There's nothing to gauge this off of anymore.
No.
It's just one of those things where you can't, he's 2 rings, 2 MVPs, 2 first-team All-Pros, and he's been a starter 5 years.
Exactly.
Listen, I remember getting a lot of shit for this, but everyone's like, oh, no one's catching Brady. Is that true? Records are made to be broken, and even if it's not Mahomes, someone's going to get there. Someone will get there. But listen, man, if he's got 2 rings in his first 5 seasons, all he has to do is win less at the same pace for the next 15 years, and he's already there.
And the thing is, too, I equate this a lot to Michael Jordan in 1993. Mm-hmm. If Mahomes won this second one, Jordan had won 3. He was the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time at that point. Yeah. He hadn't. Everybody thought no one's going to catch 11 rings. Okay, great. He didn't need to. You watched him play, and you were like, yeah, that's the greatest player I've ever seen. Yeah. You watch Patrick Mahomes play, you're like, yeah, there's never been anybody ever that's been able to do what he can do. And he's proving it with accomplishments. It's not like he's, Aaron Rodgers, even, since he won that Super Bowl, or LeBron before he won his first ring, the ultra talented guys who couldn't get it done when it mattered most. He's proven he can, and if he does it this Sunday and even wins Super Bowl MVP, dude, what else is there to prove?
But Joe Burrow will be the best quarterback heading into
Oh yeah, of course.
Per ESPN.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Burrowhead. Yeah.
But the Bill Russell Jordan one, that's the exact argument I was thinking. Because Cowherd said it. He was like, we didn't wait for Jordan to get 6 rings. But like, you know what? That's the go. No, you know it when you see it.
That was one of the best points he's ever made.
Yes, that's just resonated.
Yeah,
and not to straight out the Super Bowl, but like, if Mahomes gets 4 rings, to me the debate can start. 4 is where I'm a Chiefs fan, so my bias might be able to say it. 5 is where I think you have a legitimate argument at he is the greatest football player to ever play.
Here's the thing, and this has been something that I've thought about a lot. Even if he is never widely known as the greatest player to ever play, I will always look at Patrick Mahomes and say, this is the guy. He is the best player to ever touch a football. Nobody has ever done what he has done, and no one probably ever will.
No, absolutely, 100%. And the thing about Brady is that it's always been, ultra mega winner. I mean, the dude will win at every level. He will make plays that nobody else can quite make at the stage of the game that they're in. I mean, some of the most clutch moments in NFL history have been on behalf of Tom Brady. But he can't make the throws that Patrick Mahomes can make, and Mahomes, it's just, he's a hybrid of Brady and even Aaron Rodgers, because he's got that Aaron Rodgers level of talent. But I've seen, again, when Aaron Rodgers gets the ball in postseason play and it's clutch time,
he's choking.
It's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But but Mahomes, it's the same feeling I get with Brady. All right, game's over. Game's over. That's it.
Because Michael knows how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. I can't stand him. I think he is the
That's
most,
right. I forgot.
I think he's the most overrated athlete in recent American history.
Yeah.
But to say that he's not one of the 3 most talented quarterbacks of all time, I couldn't say that. I think before Mahomes, he was the most. If Rodgers had 3 or 4 rings, he'd be in the same conversation. Exactly. It would be him and Brady. It would be those two. Literally,
it would be him and Brady.
But
absolutely.
He doesn't. Like we've said, he chokes. Yep. Mahomes doesn't do that. Now, if he loses this Super Bowl, I could see the argument start to be made, okay, the LeBron kind of argument.
Exactly.
Okay, he gets there, but what's the point of getting there if you're going to have a losing record?
Well, here's the thing, man. I think that what makes this Super Bowl feel even more special is they shouldn't be here. They have so many young rookies that are playing in this game. This was kind of branded as a retool year. Just kind of, we're trading Tyreek Hill, getting all those picks. We're not going to be bad this year, but we're not going all in. The Chiefs are not all in right now.
No.
And so I really think that, they got 12 draft picks next year. Dude. They're just going to keep being in these big games, but if you can steal one with all these rookies playing in this game and Patrick Mahomes not having a true number 1 wide receiver outside of Travis Kelce,
crazy. It
really speaks to the guy that he is.
Absolutely. And I think, and this is no disrespect to Tyreek Hill because he's an incredible wide receiver and he had a great year with the Dolphins. But I think that trade is one of the more smart franchise moves I've seen a team make in a long time, because you got so much draft capital for him. You knew he's Tyreek Hill's coming on 30 if he's not 30 already, and they gave him a big money deal that he probably should have gotten in Miami.
He deserved it.
But the Chiefs are like, dude, we want to be a dynasty for years to come. You're not going to be 33 years old and worth $30 million in this offense, because we're going to, and then if we give you that money, all right, no George Karlaftis, no, really good, other pieces that we may get in the future. So again, it's a very much of like a Patriots move to just move off of a really talented player, and people are like, why would you do that? Because, elongated success.
Big picture. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
I mean, and Brett Veach talked about it, I don't know if it was earlier this week or when it was, but they were asking about it. He's been planning for this since Mahomes, they drafted him.
Yeah.
Like, they planned for the success. Now, when he won the MVP, like that season started, they planned for this kind of stuff. They planned for this shit right here. And this is a part of it. Like, he's going to build through the draft. We're never going to see Kansas City go all in again. No. What they did the first season when they got Tyron and Frank Clark, they're not going to be able to do that again money-wise. They were able to do it because of the Mahomes rookie deal.
Yeah.
What they're going to keep doing is stockpiling draft picks, because then you have room for error. You can miss 4 picks, but guess what? Oh, you hit on the 8 other ones, and you got starters.
Exactly.
So who cares? Like, that's the thing. They're going to just... And he's such a good drafting general manager, too.
100%.
This last draft, I mean... Is there a real, miss that you was... I mean, Sky Moore maybe is the only one I could question.
Even then, he's playing meaningful snaps.
Yeah, they all are. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They're all starting on a team in the Super Bowl.
Let's really quickly
crazy.
Count off how many rookies are playing in this game. We have George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, Brian Cook, Trent McDuffie. That's 5. Watson. That's 6.
Pacheco.
That's 7.
Sky Moore.
Yeah, Sky Moore.
Sky Moore. That's 8.
Is that all the damn rookies?
Yeah.
So all of them are going to play meaningful snaps on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's crazy, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, they propelled us to win in the AFC title game.
Yeah.
Sky Moore's return set us up. Watson had that interception.
Joshua Williams also had that
interception. They all set us up. The rookies are what made that difference. 100%. And that's just been what is so special about Brett Veach. Even though I've doubted him in years past.
He's the best GM in football.
He's a wizard.
Yeah,
he's a wizard.
Yeah, you can't deny it, especially with the results that he's gotten, for sure.
Man, I'm so excited for this game.
Me too.
I think the storylines in this game make it what it is. I don't know if we've seen a Super Bowl quite like this in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe the Niners Chiefs, because it was best defense versus one of the best offenses.
Yeah, true. But you get the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
It's how cool is that?
Yeah.
I listened to their podcast and it's great, and it's they're talking about how, what are the odds that two brothers make the NFL, just make the NFL. That's odds in itself. Both get drafted to really good teams. That's crazy too. Both are the best at their position.
Both are actually good,
right? Both are the best in their position. And then finally, what are the odds that they both play each other in the Super Bowl in meaningful positions because they're both really good? That's like fairy tale stuff. You know what I mean? That's just so cool, and it couldn't happen to better people because I really love those guys.
I couldn't believe it. The fact that they're playing in this game, I couldn't imagine playing my brother in this kind of game.
No, God.
It's the whole thing of growing up with it. You and your brother both want to play football. You're just grateful if you both maybe get a college scholarship to a tiny school.
Exactly.
And you're lining up on opposite sides of the sideline in the damn Super Bowl. That's
crazy.
The coolest thing
it's crazy.
you could ever think of.
I think it's good that both of them already have a ring. So
Yeah.
the guy that doesn't get it, it's bragging rights, but at least you still got one.
Right. It's kind of like the Peyton and Eli thing, where it's for a while Eli had 2, Manning had 1, and then Manning finally gets that second one. So it's all right, we're even now. Now, there's no bragging rights, I guess you could say.
This is a really far tangent, but was Eli undefeated in Super Bowls?
Yeah, he was 2-0. And beat Brady both times. See, that's my thing too. Is I remember when Mahomes lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, and Stephen A. Smith went out on First Take and said Mahomes can never be the GOAT because he lost to Tom Brady. And I'm like, wait a minute. Tom Brady lost to Eli Manning 2 times in the Super Bowl, lost to Nick Foles the other time in the Super Bowl, lost a playoff game against Mark Sanchez and Joe Flacco. I'm like, dude, Mahomes lost to the GOAT, so why are we
with no offensive
line?
And if when you watch that game, he's the only one that showed up.
Literally
he threw multiple touchdowns that would have made the game. We wouldn't have won, but it would have made it. It wouldn't have been a blowout where you could stop watching.
100%.
I mean, the damn parallel throw to the ground where he threw it for a touchdown in the guy's hand.
Daryl Williams just dropped the thing.
Yeah,
he was the most outstanding player in that game just because of the plays that he made, even the ones that didn't convert.
And he did that like I said earlier, on a worse injury than he has this weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think they had some stat guy track the amount of yards that he ran for, not even forward, just around.
Yeah,
and it was the most in Super Bowl history.
It was 500.
I think it was the most of any player that year. Period.
Yeah.
Maybe besides Russ Wilson might have ran more in one game, but that was it.
That's why, regardless of this injury, I know he's dealing with the high ankle sprain, but he's had another week. I think he's going to be as close to 100% as he could possibly be. I think he's going to be 85 or 90.
Oh, I think so too. And I think he played really well in that Cincy game, enough to where you think that combined with 2 weeks of extra preparation, extra recovery, Like, yeah, I think 85-90% is not outlandish at all.
Especially with the adrenaline you're going to have for the damn Super Bowl.
If
that doesn't get you hyped up, that ain't nothing will. So
100%.
I think it's important to mention that health is going to be like one of the biggest factors in this game.
Absolutely.
The Chiefs are significantly less healthy. I think the Eagles are going to have all 22 starters play in this game.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs have guys that are going to play. I think everyone's going to play. But like Kadarius Toney got banged up, and there will be no Mecole Hardman in this game, and Juju's dealing with a knee injury. So yeah, they're gonna play, but I wonder how effective they're gonna be. And Andy Reid said in a press conference that the guy that you least expect is gonna step up in this game. Do you guys have any guesses on who that could possibly be?
Who that could be? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously you've seen a guy like Sky Moore make huge plays when he's been given the chance. So could be a guy like him. I honestly think. And it's not the guy that I would least expect. It's actually the guy I would most expect to make the plays, Pacheco. I think the Eagles' run defense is the one hole on that whole team. I saw TeamRankings.com rank the 32 run defenses. Eagles were like 16th. Not bad, but not good. And I think Pacheco is at that point now where he's able to make those plays. They're going to call his number a bunch of times, and I think he's going to, maybe not be Super Bowl MVP, but you'll look back and be like, all right, they wouldn't have won it without him. You know what I mean?
No Clyde Edwards-Helaire, question mark?
I'm going to go with the one, it's an obvious pick, Marcus Kemp, 250 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Pacheco pick, though. That one, or they're going to shut down Kelsey, I think.
I don't think
I think he'll get one touchdown. I think he's going to get one.
He might, yeah.
I think he'll sneak in one because he's just Travis Kelsey and it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But if it's not Pacheco, I honestly think it might be Marquez again. I think it might be him as VP. I mean, that dude stepped up when they needed him most, and he balled.
100%.
It definitely could be, but the one thing and the one reason why I don't think Travis Kelsey's going to get shut down, the Eagles play soft zone, and I think Travis Kelsey is better than anybody at manipulating soft zone. You can put 2 or 3 guys on him. He finds a way to get open. I don't know how he does it. So, yeah, they're going to probably do a little bit extra to stop him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he still goes for 100 and a touchdown or 2.
Well, even George Kittle had a pretty good game against Philly.
With who again?
With Brock Purdy.
It was Josh Johnson too.
Josh Johnson too, actually. But I don't. Did they even throw the ball? They did throw the ball with Josh Johnson a little bit, not much.
Because the first play
they attempted to.
The first play he ran, did he get a strip sack?
Yeah, I was talking Reddit. Just literally just stole the ball from him. Just sacked him and ripped him. But yeah, and I think Kelsey will have a good game. But he won't. I don't think he'll be quite as dominant as he usually is. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I wonder what the game plan's gonna hold. Someone's gonna step up. The question is, who's it gonna be? And I feel like Andy to say that it's gonna be somebody that you least expect. It's like, who would that be? I have no clue. Would it be Juju?
I could see it being Toney too.
Yeah,
because he's a red zone threat. I mean, if he stays healthy this entire game, why not? You know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think also that could be Andy, putting a little sprinkle of doubt into the media. Let the Eagles kind of reverberate around that and be like, oh, who's it gonna be? And then kind of be like a red herring and just everybody's healthy, everybody balls. So you never really know, but
yeah. And both offenses were actually the exact same in the regular season.
Yeah.
Tied for 1 with 28.7 points per game scored. So I think both offenses are on an equal playing field, but I think the Chiefs' offense is better. I know the Eagles' offense is good, and they might be more balanced. They got Boston Scott and Miles Sanders, but I like what the Chiefs can do more than the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just a little more dynamic, especially in the passing game. The Eagles kill you with a rushing attack. I mean, Jalen Hurts, obviously, and you mentioned Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, 2 really good running backs for what they want to do. But I think, the Chiefs are just a little more dynamic, a little more up-tempo. And, I think at the end of the day, I think that's why they're probably going to, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a high score. It's going to be high scoring, but I don't think it's going to be like a shootout. But in a shootout, I'll take the Chiefs, if that makes any sense. I just think they're built for that. You know what I mean?
I think you have to, because Mahomes has proven he can do that in the big games.
Right.
I mean, he's gone into shoot. I mean, he dropped, what was it? We dropped against the Texans in 53.
53,
whatever it was.
After being down
24 in the playoffs to drop 50 points.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. So Obviously, they're not going to drop 50 in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
If he drops 50 and the Chiefs win handily,
yeah, that would be.
Man, First Take's going to be awesome the next day.
Dude. And Shannon Sharp would be absolutely wild.
Mine. I couldn't wait, though, to wake up and watch Skip Bayless try to argue that Jalen Hurts still played a better game, though, slightly, than Patrick Mahomes.
Of course.
Of course.
You know.
That's what he does. No, but it's it'll be interesting. I think, and if they score 50 points, then Mahomes is probably going to throw for at least 300 yards.
Oh no, he'd throw for like 4 or 5.
He would. I mean, honestly, like if he has, I think the greatest performance still, in my opinion, that I've ever seen in a football game was Joe Burrow's first half against Oklahoma. I brought it up earlier, but like in 2019, threw for 450 yards. 7 touchdowns in the first half. I'm not saying Mahomes is going to do that, but I'm saying if Mahomes, throws for like 405 touchdowns throughout the whole game,
that would be insane.
To do that in the Super Bowl is just, because that doesn't really happen. Like,
never happens.
Yeah, the Super Bowls are always, typically the scores are within the 20s.
Right.
That's about where it ends.
Right.
You get 2-3 touchdowns. And
that's not a prediction, by the way. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think, like,
lock it in.
That would be, yeah. Over on everything. No, but it would be, like I said, that'd be really cool and something that, would solidify Mahomes being, just the greatest we've ever seen.
Yeah. How much do you think that the Chiefs being the underdog in this game helps them? Because the Eagles are 1.5-point favorites. I think the Chiefs respond well to adversity and well to being the underdogs. And I think that, all the disrespect from everybody fuels this team more than the praise does.
Yeah. I think so too. I can't remember, were they favored against the Niners? Joey, do you remember?
I don't think so.
I don't think they were.
No, I don't want to say they were.
I don't think they were.
No.
Part of me believes it. Somebody can maybe look at it. I for some reason believe that they weren't. Oh yeah, that helps them. Absolutely. Are you kidding? I mean, Mahomes thrives off of that competitive nature. I think I just think the Chiefs are ready for that, no matter what. Yeah, see if they were. I can't remember.
I think Kansas City might have actually been a 1.5-point favorite.
But I bet the line probably moved.
Yeah, the line had to move.
Well, because the Chiefs opened up.
The Chiefs were favored by 1.5.
Okay. See, the Chiefs were initially 1.5 underdogs against the Cincy before the line moved, which was good. You never bet. I don't know why you would bet against Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead Stadium.
You can't.
This is impossible. Like I welcome underdog lines for him because I'm all right, just give me more money. Just give me more money.
Yeah, it's free cash.
Yeah, exactly. Not that I would ever gamble, but it's
the Chiefs were favored by 3 in 2020 too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that didn't surprise me. Which was stupid. I remember. I mean, the Bucs were really good that year.
Yeah,
that team was so good.
It was banged up
exactly,
too. And it was in Tampa. They didn't have to travel or anything. They just got to stay at home.
That team was really good. Yeah, and then. That's just crazy. He's gone. That was the first time I ever really put that into my mind. That talking about something Brady did, and now oh shit, he's gone.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be one of those things where it's dang, he's really not playing anymore. I miss not. I'm gonna miss waiting for him to retire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's rooting against him and his teams because I respect the hell out of.
Oh, you have to. I love him, man. Yeah. I really. do.
He kicked the Chiefs' ass a couple different times, but I never disliked him. He just
100%.
You can't hate the GOAT.
I'm not the biggest Tom Brady fan.
No, hey, fair enough.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. Yeah, but definitely be weird. But I think it's like I said, it'll be Mahomes' time to carry the league for the next decade and a half.
It's going to really be interesting to see what the AFC does for the next 10 to 15 years because there's a lot better quarterback talent now.
Better.
But have they shown that they can win?
Right.
And so far, no. They could. Okay. Again, we've talked a lot about Patrick Mahomes, but let's say he gets another ring this year. He's got 2. Josh Allen has 0. Joe Burrow has 0. And pair that with the MVPs that those guys have none of either. It's man, the gap is just the size of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I've said it before. I just think Josh Allen's going to wind up being the Phillip Rivers of this generation.
I can see it.
Having a bunch of kids.
Well, yeah. But, it's too early to tell. There's a very good chance he could win a ring, but just, I feel like the Buffalo Bills don't necessarily play winning football when it matters. They're a great team. They're a great all-around team, but, Cincinnati wins more than Buffalo does. Like, to me, that's not a real question. The Chiefs-Bengals is what we all thought Bills-Chiefs was going to be.
And what we thought Chiefs-Ravens was going to be.
Yeah.
That one too, yeah.
100%. I think also, too, it's like, you know, everybody thought, and you brought it up, Jody, it was a really good point. It's like, you know, Mahomes, Allen is the new, like, you kind of, like, I took it as, like, Mahomes, Allen's kind of like the new, you know, Brady, Manning. But in reality, I don't even think there is a Brady Manning this year. I think Mahomes is Brady, and then, you know, the second best quarterback is like a tier and a half below.
Like Ben Roethlisberger?
Yeah. Right.
It's like...
Right. And you know what I mean? I think Burrow is my second best quarterback in the NFL, but I don't even think it's that close between him and Mahomes. I really don't. I just think Mahomes is better at everything. You know?
I mean, it's just how good he is.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, it's so early on, it's hard to tell. Because maybe 5 years from now, Burrow goes out and he gets himself a ring.
Exactly.
And Mahomes wins on Sunday, but he doesn't win another one.
Exactly.
And you could say, well, the gap's there, but, it's an argument. But for right now, you can't say anybody else besides Patrick Mahomes is the best player on the planet. There shouldn't be an argument for at least the next year, unless something happens with one of Burrow or Allen winning an MVP or a ring next year. That's the only way I could see things maybe changing. But
yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So why don't we get back into this Super Bowl game, because we do have to play that game this week.
Yeah.
But do you have any like final predictions, or maybe not final predictions yet, but what do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think in the first half, we're going to see both teams struggle because I think both the Eagles and the Chiefs will game plan very well for each other. So I think we're going to see... I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have a good game. That's just my prediction. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. Yeah. I don't think he's going to have a good game. I think he's not going to be able to capitalize on the opportunities to throw it over the deep, or over the top, which is where the Chiefs can suffer sometimes. Yeah. But I just don't know if he's well equipped to capitalize on that like a Joe Burrow would or a Josh Allen would. I think it could even be tied in the second half, or maybe like Chiefs are up by a little bit. I do think the Chiefs are always going to be in control. I think there's never going to be a moment where I think, okay, like beyond like maybe the second quarter where I'm like, okay, the Eagles are definitely going to win. And I think the Chiefs are going to run away with it in the end and win. I'd say if I had to give like a final score, 31-24, maybe. I don't know. 31-20.
And who's your MVP going to be?
Mahomes. Because even if other players do well, the stats are going to always reflect back to Mahomes, I think.
Yeah. Give it to him. Make him a 2-time Super
Bowl. Yeah, might as well.
Yeah. Not to make it boring, I basically thought I had it at 31-24 is what I have it going to be. Chiefs winning. I think that this is a legacy game for Pat. Yeah. I think he knows what's on the line, and going back to the Eagles' inexperience, I mean, just that's going to play a factor. When you've never played under the brightest lights, even though you have a couple on the roster who have, the 3 or 4 that have, you can't really outweigh, especially your quarterback and none of the receivers. I mean, it's just hard to get over that. And I can't see Jalen Hurts coming out here and outplaying Patrick Mahomes now that we have a healthy O-line, unlike last Super Bowl, and the defense showed out. I think the Eagles' defense is going to do what they do. They're going to give Mahomes trouble, but I think, like you kind of said, the Eagles' offense is what's going to kill him in the end, and they're not going to be able to capitalize on the opportunities the defense is going to give them and stuff.
See, I think the Eagles, it's not necessarily the inexperience that I'm worried about. I just don't think they've played anybody. And I think that's going to bite them in the ass, because the Chiefs had the 5th most difficult schedule in the NFL. And even if they didn't, they've won in the playoffs. They've won consistently. And that's something that the Eagles under Jalen Hurts have not done. Yeah. And that's one reason why I'm confident. But I also think that the Chiefs might not be better on both sides of the ball. They might not have the best pass rush. But everything the Eagles do supposedly better, the Chiefs are not far behind. And the one thing that the Eagles do not have is Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid. The big 3, the trio, I think that is going to be the biggest aspect in this game, because when you have those advantages at quarterback, head coach, tight end, and the best defensive player on the planet right now, I'm sorry, Nick Bosa, but Chris Jones is the best on the planet right now. So having those guys be the best at their position is going to be costly. I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with them being up the whole game. The Chiefs have shown that, maybe they come out a little bit slow.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll probably defer if they win the coin toss, so they'll get the ball in the second half, which I would prefer.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles went down the field and maybe kicked a field goal and maybe something weird happens and they get a touchdown. So the Chiefs are down by like 10. But if that was the case, I'd almost feel like the Chiefs were up because they played better from behind.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily concerned with falling down at any point because the Chiefs have shown that they can come back. But I don't think this is going to be like the last team to touch the ball wins. I think we're going to see in the final minutes of the third quarter or maybe the fourth quarter, I think one team's going to pull ahead. And that one team I think is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
I agree.
Because Patrick Mahomes late in games, he finds a way to get it done. Like in that game against Cincinnati where they could not really move the ball. Like they struggled. But when they had the ball back with like 40 seconds left, I was like, oh, they're going to win this game.
They're going to win this game.
He's going to do enough because in the moments that you need somebody to be great, Patrick Mahomes is that guy.
He is. 100%.
And like you said, this is a legacy game. Patrick Mahomes, if he wins this game, starts to enter the not GOAT conversation, but he starts to enter into the upper echelon of quarterbacks all time.
Absolutely.
He's 28 years old.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say Chiefs win this game. It's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I'm going to go Chiefs 35, Eagles 28. But it's going to be a score that, the Eagles might be down 35-21 and then they kind of score a late touchdown. Yeah. But I really do think that this is the Chiefs' time, and regardless of all the naysayers and the people picking the Eagles, I think the Chiefs are going to kind of control this game.
Yeah, I think so too. And also, and I saw that statistic you're going back to, the Chiefs playing well when they're behind. I think Mahomes is he wins over 50% of his games when he's
winning
record
record
by 10 points. I think the second is Brady. It was 31% or something like that. It's
the craziest shit.
That's a mind-boggling statistic that doesn't get talked about enough. I don't think it's that's crazy. A lot of quarterbacks just don't win 50% of the games. Period. He wins over half of his games when he's down by 10 points. So, yeah, no, I agree with both of y'all. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the Chiefs are going to win.
I just got a gut feeling. I know you do too.
Yeah, I have it.
So, I think as long as the Chiefs can play a good game and come out with that intensity and fire, I think they're going to win this game. So
I agree.
I think this is a hell of a podcast, boys. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I'm very happy that this we were able to do it. It was a crazy morning, some unexpected things, but we made it, and yeah.
R.I.P. to Max's car.
Oh God, holy moly,
sitting in some
junkyard.
I hope it's still in one piece.
The first management that towed his car, man. You gotta do better.
You gotta do better. No, but yeah, very happy we were able to do this. Can't wait to do more, and had a great time for sure.
Final question I have for both of you, and we'll start with Jackson first. Where can the people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at JacksonC Tenant. Also, if you guys want to see some of my articles that I write for the University Daily Kansan, go to the universitydailykansan.com and don't check out just my stuff. Check out all of our stuff. We do some really good things for the university, cover every sporting event known to man. So, yeah, check us out there.
And you can find Joey in the office of Mike Rodriguez for the Kansas City Comments. He does not have any social media, so he's pretty easy to find. So as for me, you guys can subscribe to this YouTube channel. Obviously, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? The Instagram, KC_Sports Report. Twitter is at KC Sports Report. Go check out the website, kcsportsreport.com. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.